Let me ask you something. Have you ever stared a losing trade and caught yourself whispering, "I hope it turns around just a little bit more"? Or maybe you've said it before. The market should go up from here. It can't drop any lower. If you have, don't feel bad. You're not alone. Almost every trader, from beginners to seasoned pros, has been trapped by these words. At first, they sound harmless, like casual thoughts in the heat of the moment. But in reality, they are silent killers. Here's why. They don't just shape the way you speak, they shape the way you think. And in trading, your thoughts are everything. Think about it. Your thoughts shape your emotions. Your emotions drive your actions. Your actions create your results. And those results determine whether you survive in this game or whether you blow up your account. This is why so many traders fail. It's not that they don't have a good strategy. It's not that they don't understand charts, indicators, or setups. It's because the words they use quietly sabotage them from the inside out. See, language is powerful. Every word you use is like a command to your brain. If you constantly tell yourself words rooted in fear, bias, or limitation, you'll trade from fear, bias, and limitation. But if you choose words rooted in clarity, discipline, and structure, you'll trade with clarity, discipline, and structure. So today, I'm going to expose the 3 words you must erase from your trading vocabulary. And I'm not just going to tell you what they are, I'll also show you the exact mindset shifts to replace them with. Because once you change your language, you change your psychology. Once you change your psychology, you change your decisions. And once you change your decisions, you change your trading. This might sound simple, but make no mistake, this is the foundation of professional trading. And if you take this seriously, it could be the shift that finally separates you from the 90% of traders who keep losing. All right, let's break this down. Word number 1 is probably the biggest killer of all. Word 1, hope. 1. How hope shows up in trading. You enter a trade, price goes against you, and instead of cutting the loss where you planned, you sit there thinking, I hope it bounces back. I hope it doesn't stop me out. I hope this turns green. That word hope feels harmless, but in trading, it's actually a red flag. Why? Because it signals that you've stopped making decisions based on logic and probabilities, and instead, you're relying on chance. 2. Why hope is emotional gambling. When you say, I hope, you're no longer in control. You've abandoned your trading system, your risk management, and your edge. At that point, you're not a trader, you're a gambler waiting for luck. The market doesn't reward hope. It doesn't care what you want or feel. Price is going to do what it does, regardless of your emotions. 3. The consequence of trading on hope. You hold losing trades longer than you should. Small losses snowball into big losses. You ignore your stop loss, your rules, and your risk limits. You create a habit of waiting for the market to save you, instead of saving yourself. Over time, this mindset destroys both confidence and your account balance. 4. The solution. Replace hope with a plan. Instead of saying, I hope this trade recovers. Say, if price reaches this level, then I'll exit. If it holds this support, then I'll stay in. That's called conditional logic, or if, then thinking. It's structured. It's measurable. It's objective. A professional trader doesn't rely on hope. They rely on rules, probabilities, and discipline. They accept outcomes, win or lose, because they know one trade doesn't define them. Their edge plays out over many trades, not just one. Word 2, should. This one is sneaky, and it catches more traders than you think. Picture this. You're staring at the chart, price has fallen fast, and you mutter, it should bounce from here. Or you've been holding onto a stock for weeks, watching it slide lower and lower, and deep down you convince yourself it should go back up eventually. Sound familiar? Here's the danger. Should is not reality. It's a projection. The market doesn't operate on what you think it should do. It doesn't care about your opinions, your analysis, or your personal attachment to a trade. The moment you use this word, you're no longer trading what's in front of you. You're trading what you wish would happen. And that's how traders get trapped. They ignore what the price is actually telling them. They ignore their risk plan. They hold on to losers longer than they should, all because they're clinging to an expectation. Markets don't owe you anything. They're not designed to reward your predictions. They're designed to expose your weaknesses. So what's the fix? Replace should with if, then. Not, it should bounce. Instead, if price bounces at this level, then I'll enter. If it breaks through, then I'll cut my position. This is probability thinking. This is conditional logic. This is how professional traders protect themselves. Pros don't get married to an outcome. They prepare for multiple outcomes. They don't demand that the market bend to their will. They adjust to what the market actually does. The word should keeps you rigid, blind, and biased. The if, then mindset keeps you flexible, objective, and prepared. And in trading, flexibility is survival. Word 3, can't. Now, let's talk about a word that's even more dangerous, can't. This word is pure poison because it doesn't just describe the market, it defines you. Think about how often traders use it without even realizing, I can't take another loss. I can't believe the market dropped this far. I can't seem to catch a break. It sounds small, but every time you say can't, you're programming your brain to accept limitation. You're teaching yourself that you're powerless. You're handing over your control to fear, ego, and self-pity. And here's the scary part. Your brain believes what you tell it. If you say, I can't handle losses, your brain will react with panic at every red candle. If you say, I can't win, your brain will find ways to sabotage you. Words become self-fulfilling prophecies. Let's break this down. Small blue diamond when you say, I can't take another loss. What happens? You avoid pulling the trigger on valid setups. You hesitate. You freeze. Or even worse, you swing the other way. You start taking oversized trades, desperate to recover, desperate not to lose. And that desperation is what leads to catastrophic blowups. Small blue diamond when you say, I can't believe the market dropped this far. You're not trading reality. You're stuck in denial. The market doesn't care what you believe. It doesn't care what you think is fair. It just moves. While you're busy arguing with the market in your head, the professional traders are already adapting. Small blue diamond, and when you say, I can't seem to catch a break, you're framing yourself as a victim. You've shifted from being the trader who makes decisions to being the gambler waiting for luck. You're basically saying, I have no control over my outcomes. And once you believe that, you stop improving, you stop growing, and you stay stuck. But here's the truth. Losses are not the enemy. They're not a sign of weakness. They're not proof that you can't trade. Losses are part of the game. They're the cost of doing business. Every professional trader on the planet takes them, consistently. The difference is this. Amateurs let losses define them, but professionals let losses guide them. Amateurs say, I can't. Professionals say, I can learn from this. I can adjust. I can protect my capital and wait for the next high probability setup. That's the shift. That's the evolution from victim to strategist. Instead of saying, I can't take another loss, say, I can follow my rules and protect my capital. Instead of saying, I can't believe this market dropped, say, I can adapt and I can take advantage of new opportunities. Instead of saying, I can't catch a break, say, I can stay patient and I can wait for my edge to play out over time. Because here's the reality. The market isn't out to get you. It isn't punishing you. It's just doing what it does. The only thing standing between you and consistency is the story you tell yourself about what's possible. And that story always starts with your words. So the next time you catch yourself saying, I can't, stop. Flip it. Reframe it. Because every time you replace I can't with I can, you're taking back control, not just of your words, but of your identity as a trader. And in trading, identity is everything. If you see yourself as a victim, you'll act like one. But if you see yourself as a disciplined strategist, you'll trade like one. Instead of saying I can't, flip it to, I can follow my rules. I can cut this trade and move on. I can wait for the next high probability setup. This tiny shift in language rewires how you see yourself. You go from powerless to powerful, from victim to strategist, from emotional to disciplined. And that's the secret most traders miss. Trading isn't just about setups, entries, and exits. It's about identity. Every word you speak to yourself reinforces who you are as a trader. If you keep saying can't, you reinforce weakness. If you start saying I can, you reinforce strength. And in a game where confidence, clarity, and discipline means survival, your words can either kill you or save you. So here's the big takeaway. The silent killer in trading isn't your broker, it isn't the news, and it isn't even the market. It's the words you feed yourself, day after day, trade after trade. Because language isn't just communication, it's programming. The words you use shape the way you think. The way you think shapes the way you act. And the way you act determines whether you thrive or blow up in this game. Erase hope. Erase should. Erase can't. Because those words are chains. They lock you into emotions, bias, and fear. And emotions, bias, and fear destroy more trading accounts than any crash, any Fed announcement, or any black swan event. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 7 days, become hyper-aware of your language. Catch yourself every time you say these words. Write them down if you have to. Notice how often they sneak in without you realizing. And every time you catch one, replace it. Replace hope with a plan. Replace should with if, then. Replace can't with I can and I will. This might sound small, but it's not. The words you use every single day are programming your brain, whether you realize it or not. And in trading, that programming makes the difference between discipline and disaster. This is how you rewire your trading brain. This is how you move from amateur to professional. Because trading is not just about charts, setups, or fancy indicators. It's about mindset. Your ability to think clearly, to act decisively, and to stay calm in uncertainty. When you master your words, you master your thoughts. When you master your thoughts, you master your decisions. And when you master your decisions, the profits take care of themselves. But here's the best part. When you start speaking like a trader, you start thinking like a trader. And when you start thinking like a trader, everything changes. Suddenly, you're no longer tossed around by fear after a losing streak. You're no longer paralyzed by greed when a trade runs in your favor. You're no longer second-guessing yourself or chasing the market. Instead, you're calm. You're structured. You're in control. You execute with clarity. You manage risk with confidence. You wait for high-probability setups instead of forcing trades. That's the real edge. Not some hidden indicator, not some secret system. The real edge is the mindset of a professional trader. And it starts with the words you allow yourself to use. So here's my challenge to you. Starting today, eliminate the silent killers from your vocabulary. Every time you catch yourself saying hope, should, or can't stop, reframe it. Replace it with strength, with clarity, with structure. Because the truth is, most traders lose not because the market beats them, but because their own words did. Don't let that be you. If this message hit home, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe for more trading psychology lessons, and share this with a trader who needs to hear it. Because chances are, someone you know is being destroyed right now by these same words. And you could be the reason they break free. And remember this, the market doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about your hopes, your expectations, or your doubts. But your words, they shape your reality. They shape your actions. They shape your future as a trader. So choose them wisely. Train your language, train your mind, and the rest will follow. I'll see you in the next video.